Good evening and welcome to the annual JWSC Town Hall meetings. On Wednesday night we will be at Howard Coffin Park in downtown Brunswick, and Thursday we'll be at the casino on St. Simon's Island. My name is Andrew Burrows and I'm the Executive Director of the Joint Water and Sewer Commission. I'd like to apologize for not being with you in person today, but unfortunately I had a family emergency that precludes me from being on site with you. There will be a time for questions following this video presentation, and we have plenty of staff here in attendance that can assist you with any questions you may have about our current operations or future plans. All right, our agenda for this evening, we're going to talk about some of our accomplishments in the big picture. I like to do this when we get together because we do so many little things throughout our days that we don't realize the cumulative impact that we have on our community. We'll talk about some current construction and projects that we have ongoing countywide. You'll see our crews and contractors' crews working countywide right now. We'll talk about the budget for next year and the rates that are proposed to support that budget. We'll provide a little bit of a customer service update and then show a couple of maps at the end to show the scale of the projects we're doing countywide. All right, in the big picture, we do a lot of little bitty things like I was talking about. One of the things you see us constantly doing, you'll see we have 4 VATCON cleaners that go around, and what they do is they jet out sewer lines to remove debris that happens to remain in the lines due to velocity issues in the line or grease getting in the lines or things like that. Well, over the past year, we cleaned 67.1 miles of gravity sewer. When we clean sewer, about half of what we clean is scheduled to be televised. So we put a camera in the line, and that camera inspects the inside of the sewer lines to determine where we might have defects that need correction. Last year, we televised 46.7 miles of gravity sewer. Both of those are on ahead of schedule for our targets of cleaning the sewer system once every 5 years and televising the sewer system once every 10 years. We've been doing this program for 4 years now, and we are substantially ahead of schedule on both of those projects. While we were cleaning those sewer systems, we removed 457.8 tons of debris in those lines. That is debris that never made it to any of our 3 wastewater treatment facilities that was removed and disposed of at a landfill. At the wastewater plants, we treated and pumped 3.38 billion gallons. We operate 3 wastewater treatment plants currently: Academy Creek on the mainland, Dunbar Creek on St. Simon's Island, and our Southport facility at Exit 29. At those facilities, we removed 2,605 tons of solids that were coming into the head of the plant that were not discharged but were removed from the system either by the biological treatment processes or through the solids removal processes. On the water side, we pumped 3.14 billion gallons of clean water last year through our well facilities. We have multiple wells and operate 3 systems like we do on the water side, one on St. Simon's, one on the mainland, and one at Exit 29. You may have noticed that there was an increase in wastewater flow compared to water flow, and that doesn't make a lot of sense when you can't necessarily generate more wastewater than you do water. There are 2 major reasons for this. One, in our area, we have larger industrial customers that are sewer-only customers. They have private wells for all their water needs, and they discharge the sewer. But the other is what's known as inflow and infiltration, or I&I. This is groundwater and stormwater that gets into our system, and then it gets to our wastewater plants and treated through our wastewater plants. We have many active projects ongoing to try to eliminate I&I, but unfortunately, we'll never eliminate all of it, but we are making progress in these areas. If you've driven through Glynn County recently, you've seen a lot of new construction going on. Our system has added 646 new service locations. All of these may not have structures on them yet or necessarily have water meters installed, but what we do have is 646 new parcels that are available to be served by the community water and sewer systems. Our water distribution crews installed 708 new meters in the past year. That's on top of the overall meter changeout, which we'll talk about later. But 708 new meters at 708 new customers that went online. Some of these may be irrigation customers where we already had an existing water account, but they wanted to get a secondary account for irrigation. If you have an irrigation account with us, you do not get charged sewer for that usage, so it may be a good investment for you. In the past 12 months, we've invested $15.4 million in capital projects. This is an ongoing trend over the past 3 to 4 years where we've consistently invested $15 to $20 million into our system annually in attempts to bring it back up to where we would like it to be at so that you can trust in the services being provided by your local water and sewer utility. And then we do have a customer service lobby down at 1703 Gloucester Street. And in that lobby, we handle 55,525 transactions. So that's a little bit, just shy of 5,000 customers a month coming in and paying their bill in our lobby. That does not include people that came in with questions to provide leak adjustment forms, start new accounts, or anything like that. So that's 55,525 people that came and paid their monthly bill over the past 12 months. Now let's talk about some recently completed or some ongoing water projects. On St. Simons Island, we have been getting very near finishing up what's known as the Wesley Oak Circle Water Improvements Project. In that area, there was a 6-inch water main that went through the center of the neighborhood with 2-inch loops across either side of that, kind of creating an egg shape in the neighborhood. What we've done to replace some of those older lines that we were having some pressure issues in, and some of it is galvanized and some of it is known as transite pipe, we've installed all new HDPE piping in that neighborhood, and I've got some pictures for you to show that. North Mainland Water Loops was a project that finished up this first quarter of the spring. That was a project to connect 3 different parts of our system in the North Mainland, and we call it looping because water can be fed from multiple directions. And if we can loop our water systems, what that does is allow us to improve the volume and pressure at these areas as the demands change from location to location. And then I did talk about we've got water meter replacements. Happy to report we have replaced every water meter in Glynn County within the last 3 years. So here's some photos from Wesley Oak Circle. Again, we replaced that 6-inch central section with an 8-inch main, and then we put 6-inch loops around to replace the 2-inch. This system is not quite online yet. We've got to make a few more tie-ins, but it should be completed before the end of June. In the picture on the left there, you see our crews that are digging down to make a connection for a hydrant, new fire hydrants in the area. We do not have hydrants on 2-inch mains. However, with a new 8-inch main looping with a 6-inch main on either end, those new lines have new fire protection capabilities for the neighborhood. So you see on the right the finished product of that new hydrant that is going into that area. Here's some photos from our North Mainland Water Loops project. Remember, we talked about connecting different parts of our system. We had one section that came down Old Jessup Road that tied in areas from near Perry Lane Road to the areas near Glendale. And we also had a small section of what's known as Bailey Road, which is right there by the Yancey facility off of Perry Lane Road. And our final connection point, two other connection points, sorry. One of them was on Hautala Drive, the little cut through right there between Kate Road and Old Jessup, and then underneath the spur we tied in from over by the bowling alley to over by Toucan's Ale House and looped that system. So previously, before this project was ongoing, if we had a water main break along Kate Road, we'd have to essentially shut off service to the entire exit 38 area because it was only single fed. By looping this area, that substantially reduces the amount of customers that have to be put out of service to fix a leak, while also improving fire protection and water pressure for each of these customers. On the left in this photo, that's a new valve that's going into the system to help tie these two sets of systems together. Our contractor, Valancourt Construction, did a very nice job on this project. That's one of their crew members there. And on the right, we also did, and contrary to your standard open cut methodology for installation, the area under Golden Isles Parkway we did with a trenchless technology, so we horizontally directionally drilled pipe through that area. So you see a larger pipe on the back of that. That's a carrier pipe or casing pipe that went under Golden Isles Parkway with the main water line that is fed through that. And you see there we're doing some pressure testing to ensure that this fused pipe doesn't have any holes in it so that when we put water to it there are no leaks. And our water meter replacements have been ongoing for a couple of years. Those got wrapped up just at the end of 2023. And last year I showed you some pictures of the data we might have on individual customers. Well, this year I want to show you some of the fun things we can do with these meters system-wide. So this first graph here, this is a daily endpoint graph for the last week of May, early June. This was snipped today. I will say the 6-3, it takes 24 hours for all the readings to come in, so that day is not fully in yet, so we did not have 1 million gallons less usage for the day. Those readings are still coming in. However, you can see the daily fluctuations in flow from our system wide. That's from all 31,000 and change meters that we have in the system that are active right now, and you can see as the flow changes day by day. And you will see slight reductions on the weekends and things like that, as some of our commercial enterprises may not be open on the weekends. But on the customer level, this is the Joint Water and Sewer Systems account here at 1703 Gloucester Street. And you can see we have monthly fluctuations just like you do at your home address. You know, your bill changes a little bit month to month. You may use 3,500 gallons one month and 4,500 gallons the next month, and it averages out over the year. That's why you see some slight fluctuations. But even here at a business that we're open continuously Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and we have people here a little bit before 8 and sometimes after 5. There's a handful of people still hanging around, and you see some fluctuations month to month based off of water usage. Again, you see the June readings. It's very early in June, so we have very little water usage thus far, and then of course Saturday and Sunday being the 1st and 2nd of June. Limited water usage thus far in June, but it will fill in as we go through the month. On the sewer side, we've got some major projects ongoing. Dunbar Creek WPCF. WPCF is Water Pollution Control Facility. That has been under rehab for quite some time, and that is nearing completion. We've got some more work ongoing at the Academy Creek Water Pollution Control Facility on the mainland. We're installing new RAS pumping and also a new UV disinfection system. And we've currently got 4 pump station rehabs underway here in Glynn County. Here's an aerial photo of the Dunbar Creek facility. And you can kind of see here, this is oriented, pointed back towards Sea Island Road there. But at the facility, starting from the left, we did some improvements to those basins that are holding water on the far left. Though you see bubbles coming up in those, we replaced what's known as diffusers in the bottom of that basin. We bubble air through that to provide oxygen for the bacteria to consume solids. In the center, you see a new concrete tank that doesn't have any water in it. That is a new clarifier that is being built. Clarifiers take the flow from the aeration basins that we just talked about, and the solids settle out the bottom and the water goes out the top. And you can see at the other two, just to the north of that photo there, you can see the water clear going out the top. And in the far right, you will see a structure with a white roof over the top of it. In that structure, we installed new tertiary filters to remove even more solids. They remove about 99% of solids that come into the facility. So we put out about 1 to 2 parts per million of solids out of the facility. And it also has a new UV disinfection system. The UV disinfection system eliminates any need for chlorine gas to be at the facility. It's a safer protocol for our employees to be dealing with, and is also highly effective at removing remaining bacteria in the water. We do have some other ancillary work that is going on. We're trying to get some improvements for the back entrance road there, but that project has gone very smoothly and is expected to be completed sometime this summer. Talked about the Academy Creek project. 2 words that you may not be familiar with: RAS, which is either returned activated sludge or recycle activated sludge. Some of that solids that settle out at the bottom of those clarifiers we were just talking about at Dunbar gets recycled through the plant to ensure that the bacteria have consistent food sources. We're installing new RAS pumps. This is a style of pump that we're looking for. It's a chopper pump. Those pumps have been, we're getting submittals and fixing to order those, and that will improve our RAS flow and also eliminate any clogging in those pumps, which will reduce ongoing maintenance needs at the facility. And that will be tremendously beneficial for operational control at the Academy Creek plant. On the right, that's the top of the UV disinfection system at Dunbar. Now, Dunbar treats about 3 million gallons a day with a capacity currently of 4 million gallons a day. Academy Creek treats about 7 million gallons a day with a capacity of 13.5 million gallons per day. So we're going to install a new UV system very similar to the one at Dunbar Creek at Academy Creek. Currently, Academy Creek uses gaseous chlorine to disinfect, which is highly successful. However, it is somewhat of a safety issue for us to have that much chlorine stored on site. So we're going to install UV systems, which will look somewhat similar to what you see in the right there, but obviously going from 4 million gallons a day treatment capacity to 13.5, it will be much larger at the Academy Creek facility. That project's going to kick off in August and should be completed sometime next summer. And we have multiple pump station rehabs going on. The picture on the left there, pump station 4002, is in downtown Brunswick. Right there behind Indigo, there's the mural painted on it, the Welcome to Brunswick mural. Right now, the inside and outside of that, non-mural related on the outside, are getting a good paint job. That building was a little dated, needed some improvements. It was built in the early 60s and hadn't had much attention since then. We're also going through and doing a complete electrical system change out to replace some worn gear. And you can see there some of the paint on the walls that's went in, and all the pumps and valves in there are covered to eliminate paint getting on those. That station is currently on bypass, but is operating very well as it is. Out the outside of this, we'll have more reliable equipment in those pump stations. On the right, those are some new structures that will be installed at Pump Station 4044. Pump Station 44 is in front of Brakes for Less on Altama Connector. And there's going to be a new station built just beside it, right there by the Prime South Bank. And so we're going to get new wet wells, which is a concrete structure where water collects prior to being pumped. and then new manholes coming into that and a new valve vault. So you see some concrete structures that are stored at a nearby joint water and sewer site that will later be installed at that location at Alabama Connector. Upcoming water projects, we got a lot of work upcoming, and I've got a map at the end to kind of show you the wide range of these. Just want to highlight a few that you may have seen some information about. Canal Road, WPF. WPF is Water Production Facility. A water production facility is a well site that has treatment capacity. And how do we treat our water? We use phosphate for corrosion protection, and we use chlorine for disinfection to make sure the water is safe to drink. And we also have aerators on site to bubble out any gases that may be trapped in the water column coming out of the aquifer. That facility on Canal Road is actually on Harry Driggers, but it was known as the Canal Road facility. That project just recently kicked off and is about a year-long project, so we're hoping to have that online by the end of next year. At exit 29, you see the WPF again. There's another well site similar to Canal Road at exit 29, just across the street from Satilla Marsh Elementary. So we're going to do the same thing that we're doing at Canal Road, add a new ground storage tank, new electrical equipment and treatment equipment there so we can treat water from that well. And there's also EST is elevated storage tank, or what you may know as a water tower. We're in the process of designing and about to construct a new water tower at exit 29 on property adjacent to the wastewater treatment plant at exit 29. Exit 42 is also getting another EST or elevated storage tank. This project's out for bid, and bids are due in June with a hopeful award of this project at our commission meeting in June. This will be a 3/4 million gallon water storage tank at exit 42 that will provide increased water availability for fire flows and also help modulate pressures to make sure that they're streamlined in the area. On St. Simons Island, Palm Drive is the middle entrance into Sea Palms. We need to increase the size of the pipe going into Sea Palms to improve pressures and volumes going through the neighborhood. And to do that, we've got to go across Frederica Road and then do a little bit of improvements right there inside of Sea Palms. So you may have seen about this in the newspaper. We're looking to upsize that, and we're scheduling that with Glynn County right away right now to get that project done. All work that will occur in the Frederica Road area will be done at night. The hope is that we will come in one night and the contractor will open cut the road, maintain traffic through the area, install the pipe, and then backfill it. And so it's back to drivable, plate it that night, and then the next night a contractor will come in and pave that. So there should be very limited disruption. It will occur in the overnight hours, and then the work in the shoulder on Palm Drive will continue in the daytime, but that's more of a 30-day project once it gets kicked off, pending scheduling with Glynn County right away. And then generator replacements. We were fortunate enough to be awarded a grant by FEMA to install some generators, and we're installing 8 permanent generators, and we have 5 portable generators that we've purchased with that program. Of those 8 permanent generators, 5 of them will be going at well locations. That way that in a storm event, what we do now as part of our standard protocol in advance of a hurricane or tropical storm landing, we disconnect our water system from Georgia Power. And the reason we do that is to avoid power surges going and causing problems for our electrical equipment. So there 5 of these locations will have brand new generators, and so we can disconnect those from the Georgia Power utility and then end up maintaining continuous access throughout storm events to our water system, barring there being a major water main uprooted by a tree. On the sewer side, we've got 5 more rehabs of pump stations. 4 of those are on St. Simons Island. There's 2 on the north end at pump stations 20, 33, and 34 up on Lawrence Road, and then 2 on the south end at pump stations 2001 and 2002. 2001 is behind the village, and 2002 is adjacent to Fiddler's, and those are all due for rehab. We're going to do these projects a little bit differently to try to reduce our cost. You may have heard in the newspaper our project costs have skyrocketed in recent years, both due to increased costs for materials and also increased costs for labor for contractors. And there's another pump station rehab ongoing up Highway 17 North. 4002 CIPP is in downtown Brunswick. It's essentially the sewer system south of Gloucester. There are some areas just north of Gloucester to I Street that are included in this project, but we're going to do CIPP, or cured in-place piping rehab. Essentially, it's a trenchless method where we create a new pipe inside the old pipe. It is completely structural outside of the old pipe, so we don't need the old pipe to stand up. All the old pipe does is give it its shape until it can be formed correctly. We're going to do this rehab to about 5 miles of pipe in downtown Brunswick. There's a lot of old vitrified clay pipe in downtown Brunswick, some old cast iron pipe in downtown Brunswick, and some of these will be rehabbed in this project. All of those lines were inspected with the CCTV camera equipment I talked about earlier going through our system. Our CCTV crews inspected every line in this basin. They scored them based off of a likelihood of failure score. That's a NASCO standard. It's an industry standard, and then we are going to line the pipes that are scored appropriately for lining. So we're not just willy-nilly picking lines. These have been scored using asset management philosophy to ensure that we're getting the greatest bang for our buck. North Mainland WPCF, you may remember WPCF is Water Pollution Control Facility. We're in the process of working out property arrangements and permitting and beginning engineering on a new wastewater treatment plant at Exit 42. Everyone knows that Buc-ee's is coming to Exit 42. However, Buc-ee's is not the reason we are building a new wastewater treatment plant at Exit 42. We can handle the flow at Buc-ee's all the way downstream, but if you've been out Highway 99 or at the end of Golden Isles Parkway recently, you will notice a substantial amount of ongoing construction in that area. And rather than continuing to upsize all of the stations downstream, which would take about 6 pump stations to be upgraded, as well as a substantial amount of gravity sewer and force main, it is a more cost-effective method long-term for us to build a new wastewater treatment plant in that facility in that area at Exit 42. Hopefully engineering will begin this year and then construction potentially next year. That'll take about 4 years for completion once it gets started. And 2 projects that have similar names, it's just difference in pump stations, Pump Station 3103 and Pump Station 4119. 3103 is at the South Mainland in the Royal Oaks neighborhood, and 4119 is at the end of Golden Isles Parkway at Highway 99. Both of these stations need improvement in flow rates and condition of the valves and pumps at the stations and electrical equipment, and also we'll be installing new force mains for these. Force mains are the pipes that the water is pumped through before it reaches a standard gravity sewer system. So these force mains will be rerouted off of their existing force mains and upsized to allow more flow to go through those pump stations. You may have heard a lot of talk about some ongoing and upcoming neighborhood extensions. It is a desire of the Joint Water and Sewer Commission that we provide service to as many customers in Glynn County as we possibly can. And right now we have one ongoing project in Arco to provide service to approximately 400 parcels, about 300 structures, but about 400 parcels will have access to the sewer system once this project is completed. That should be finished up this year. Brunswick Villa is the area across the railroad tracks from Arco. We just awarded a contract and we'll be kicking that off this summer to run sewer lines in Brunswick Villa. That's another 200 or so homes that will have access to the sewer system at that point. We're finishing up design on providing sewer to the Community Road area. Community Road in between Habersham and Altama currently does not have access to sewer in that commercial area, so we're looking at putting in a low-pressure sewer system in that area. And then Whitlock. There's multiple older neighborhoods in the Whitlock area in between the triangle of railroad tracks over there, and we'll be providing water and sewer to that area. It's one of those situations where the area got skipped because of railroad tracks and the complicated nature of those, but we're going to provide service to those customers. All right, let's talk about our budget for next year. Our overall budget top line next year is $38.93 million. To fund this budget, there is a proposed increase in both water and sewer usage rates and base fees. Our average residential customer will see an increase of $2.48 a month with the proposed rates. That total budget adjustment from last year is 8.2%. The rate adjustment is right at 4%. And I'll just point out for the last 6 fiscal years, the total combined rate adjustment to our customers is 5.4%. So where are we seeing these increases? In 3 main areas, the increased project cost, I talked about it earlier. We've seen skyrocketing project cost in the construction industry. This is not only impacting us, it's impacting Glynn County, the city of Brunswick, and many other utilities statewide. So the increases in project costs are requiring us to increase project budget so that we continue to make progress with the rehabilitation of our system. Expansion projects are done with capital improvement fees, which are new connection fees that are brought on, but rehab to our system is done with internal funding from the JWSC, which comes from monthly water and sewer bills. Treatment chemicals, we use chemicals at both the water system and the wastewater system, and chemicals have went up substantially over the past few years. We're up almost 200%, not in usage, but in total rate of per pound use of multiple chemicals in the system. And then property insurance. We know the ongoing impacts of tropical storms and hurricanes in Florida and Georgia and along the coastlines, and the commercial property insurance industry and started to take notice of the potential losses they have. And we have seen sizable increases in property insurance to insure our facilities. We do not insure every bit of our facilities because it doesn't make sense to protect a tank that holds water from water, but we do have to worry about all of our electrical equipment, all of our administrative buildings and things like that, labs, other buildings that are not made to hold water, and we saw about a 40% increase in property insurance this year. On the customer service side, we now have a few new customer service options to take a look at. If you want to sign up give us your number for text messaging. We can send you a text message notification if there's going to be a planned or unexpected water outage in your system. We do know that lines sometimes do fail. We also know that sometimes lines are hit by other contractors, and that sometimes necessitates a water outage. So if you would like to get those messages, please reach out to our customer service team and they can get you signed up. With the new meters, we now can let you know if you have what's known as continuous consumption, or what you may think of as a leak. We cannot say for sure that you have a leak. However, we can tell you that you've been using water consistently for 24 hours, and if you're not aware of why that has been ongoing, it is highly likely that you have a leak of some sort on your property. So if you would like to sign up for those notifications so that you don't get the nasty bill 30 days later when your usage has went up substantially, please reach out and we can send you a message and let you know very quickly, approximately 24 to 48 hours after the continuous consumption has started. You can get a message notifying you that you do have continuous usage, and you can get a plumber involved potentially to help you find that location. And this is not available yet, but we have been working with our meter provider, Neptune. Neptune is a meter manufacturer that also does the AMI systems that give us all the data, and we're working to get a customer portal created through them so you will have access to all the data we have about your water usage. If you want to pull up daily or monthly, daily, or even hourly water usage data, we're hoping by the end of the year to have an availability for you to have a login where you can sign in and see your water usage, similar to like you can do currently with some other electrical providers. I talked about those maps. You'll see a lot of stars on this page. Blue stars on the left are planned or ongoing water projects, and you see we've got projects all throughout Glynn County, up and down St. Simons, all over the mainland, even out to exit 42, and one down at exit 29. So we're hitting all parts of our service areas. And on the sewer system on the green there, you'll see even more projects. We have a lot of needs in our area, and that we're going through these systematically. We're making improvements to our system to make sure that we can better serve you in the future here at Joint Water and Sewer Commission. And there's my contact information. Again, my name is Andrew Burrows. I apologize that I'm unable to attend today. There will be a time for questions for the other staff that is here if you do have any questions. But if you have any questions that you would like me to answer, or you're not sure that you got the answer from our staff, please reach out. There's my contact information, and I'll happily get back in touch with you just as soon as I can. And with that, we'll open it up for questions and allow staff to answer those. And I look forward to being with you next year at this time. Thank you.